There's this push to be doing something, this need to perform in front of the camera. You can feel these feelings that here's how you should do it. Here's how you should do it. You should push in this direction. You should think like this. You should come off like this. You should be happy. You should be friendly. You should be consumer friendly content. And another part of me that's just like, no, that isn't genuine. So the question arises, how do you be genuine? How do you do genuineness? That's a weird question. How do you do that which you can only do if you don't try to do it? It's impossible. Try to be yourself. Be yourself. Do the thing that makes you yourself instead of the things that do not make you yourself. As far as I can tell, there's just a flow of experience here. There's the next thought and what I'm supposed to be saying here and how I'm supposed to say it. And yet I don't have to do that. Except I do. I have to and I don't have to. Depends on what we're calling I here. The I who's in control of all this and can decide between different paths of action. That I can choose stuff, obviously, right? I choose to raise my hand. I choose to finish a sentence. But if that's not the I, if that exists in the same way that something like baseball or chess exists, then I'm less convinced that it has the freedom that it claims that it has. It's extremely easy to assign characteristics to yourself that yourself doesn't in fact hold. There's a term like narcissism that's thrown around a lot. Grandiose sense of narcissism, grandiose narcissism, whatever the hell it is, it doesn't matter. The point is people give themselves a sense of importance that is unearned. Dunning-Kruger, the amount of research somebody does into a topic corresponds to a sense of confidence in talking about that topic. And that confidence is very high after a little bit of research, and then it goes way down after some more research, and then it goes way back up after a PhD in that topic, because now you're an expert. So we do not easily relate our efforts into understanding a topic and the degree to which we should feel confident that we know what we're talking about. Their sense of self, their sense of understanding is incongruous with reality. There is something, reality, that we are creating a standard for by which the Dunning-Kruger sufferee, the person with the person exemplifying Dunning-Kruger is associating concepts with themselves that are not all that approximative of reality. The bird out my window, I kind of want to feed it. I don't have anything good. Okay, so whatever we define as a self, we hold it up to a standard and we compare it and decide whether or not it meets that standard. In other words, your sense of self can be wrong. You can have a sense of self that does not align with reality. Okay, so what is a sense of self that does align with reality? Well, what do we mean when we say anything is in alignment with reality or approximates reality? What do we mean when we say that something is true? The sun is about 93 million miles away on average. That is a true fact. True how? True in the sense that if I were to say the sun is 150 million miles away on average, that would be untrue. Okay, so what do we mean there? We mean some statements approximate reality closer than others. That's really what's occurring here. We pretend like there are discrete facts, and it's useful to pretend like that. Don't get me wrong there. Fact of the matter is, the understanding of these facts is gooier than that. We can substitute words. We can say sentences that are slightly different, but more or less mean the same thing. And that more or less is all the difference. Okay, so that's what reality is. Summed up right there. It's the entire game. We assume a, not static, but a capital T truth, an external universe that is independent of what we say about it, and what we say about it gets closer and further away from that capital T truth. The earth is flat is a statement that is further away from that capital T truth than the earth is round, or really, what a blade spheroid, whatever it is. Okay, cool. So when talking about self, there are still standards by which we would agree any particular statement about a self is true or not. That's why we have words like grandiose, narcissistic tendencies. What we are saying is that this person's self-conception, how they treat other people and how they expect others to treat them, is not in alignment with their actual accomplishments. We do not respect their sense of self. Well, some people do. We do not feel the need to play into those self-concepts that those people have if we're not being actively harmed by them. All right, so I think we've covered truth, self, But what I was trying to get at was genuineness. You can be genuinely a narcissist, genuinely wrong about your self-concepts. You could be genuinely trying to be yourself, not realizing that trying to be yourself is exactly what your non-self is. Well, I don't know if I even agree with that sentence. What I'm trying to say is that when you are yourself, it is effortless. There isn't anything you need to do. It just does. You do not need to try to understand the language that I'm using right now. For the most part, most English speakers cannot help but decode the language that I'm using right now. Everyone watching this video cannot help but engage in metabolic processes. Their cells are continuing to consume oxygen and deteriorate ever so slightly, undergo programmed cell death, and divide. You, the you that is deciding things and in control of all of this, does not get to choose not to do that. And yet, that whole process, that whole cell metabolic process, is exactly what you, quote unquote, are. It's what results in any sort of claim that you could make about yourself. All of your approximations of reality are a result of these cell metabolic processes. Everything you think, everything you feel, anything that is available to be noticed is a result of metabolic processes. You disagree with me, I'm open to being told otherwise. Please note, though, that while I say these are fundamental, like I'm saying these very confidently, these are truths. This is for all eternity true. No. Note that I am always playing in the space of lowercase t truth. I assume a capital T truth. I assume there is a reality to the situation, to the universe, to whatever can be noticed, which is distinct from what we can know about that truth, that capital T truth. What is reasonable to believe about that capital T truth? And so when I say everything that you're aware of is a result of metabolic processes, what I am saying is it is reasonable to believe that. We have good reason to believe that that's the case. And the thing about reason is that any reason that I give for anything, any claim that I put forth, is always subject to tomorrow's claims. Everything I say could be turned on its head tomorrow. Everything I say is out of date the moment it leaves my mouth. So when you hear me say stuff like that, understand that what I am saying is current science, the best evidence that we have available, suggests this to be true, or like even more constrained. My understanding of the science currently suggests this. And I could be wrong about the facts. I'm going to say a lot of stuff eventually, and I am going to get stuff wrong. And hopefully we'll have experts in the comments who can say, actually, no, it's not like that. This is what's true. There's actually this other process that's not metabolically relevant that not influences, but causes your thoughts, or I don't know. I'm probably using terms in the wrong way. There's jargon within these disciplines that I'm not going to be aware of. I'm going to be stepping on toes as I stumble through all this and fail to capture the quote unquote real thing. But put an expert in front of me and they say this is more like what it is, I'm going to nod along and be like, yeah, okay. Provided they're making sense. Not all experts are, it's got to make sense of some basic fact. Or insofar as it doesn't, they have to be able to field my questions and help me get there. No, it's not actually metabolic rates that result in your thinking and understanding and awareness. It's actually the ether. That's what does it. Okay, I've heard of this ether. I thought it was disproven long ago, but are you saying that there's some new evidence suggesting that this might actually be true? That it might actually have an influence, it might be the cause of everything that I think and feel? And then when they say, yeah, actually, so like current scientific understanding is correct as you understand it, but there's new studies right now that are exploring this, and it's actually turning some things on its head. We might see ether make a comeback here. And I'll be like, okay, I'll wait with open arms and ears. Like, that's interesting. Wow. The chances of something like that are so low. The chances of something like that occurring are so low. I bring this confidence to this camera to say that's not true. What's true is cell metabolic processes, neuronal action potentials. That is what results in what you think and feel. That is what results in the process of thinking. Rene Descartes says, I think, therefore I am. The simpler version of that is there are thoughts, therefore there is. Really translates the most simple tautologically, there is, therefore there is. Just fine as a first move, I guess you could say. Something seems to be happening. What occurs next is more of that happening. Okay. Well, I've been struggling to post my first video. Right now, I feel good about what I'm presenting here on this camera. I think I'm being genuine. I don't feel much internal conflict. I mean, there are points here and there where I'm like, internally conflicted about what I'm doing. But certainly not to the extent that it's prevented me from getting in front of the camera. I wish to be genuine. Like I said at the beginning, that's like an inherent paradox, right? I'm trying to be genuine. Okay, I think that's good for now. I'll try. Well, we'll see. I'll wash this back. Maybe I'll edit it. Maybe I'll just send it out raw. Thank you for listening. Hope you have a good rest of your day. And I'm going to try to present more content that may be interesting, new thoughts, new ideas. Thank you.